Hey everybody, meteorologist Sarah Gannon here with a first alert update for you here on this Tuesday evening. We are heading into a active week here for many of us here in southern Minnesota, northern Iowa, and of course we have the holidays right in the middle of the week here with Thanksgiving on Thursday. So quite a bit to keep an eye on here as we move into our Wednesday and extending into the holiday weekend. So as we take a look at your first alerts here tonight, we are looking at that rainfall expected to change over to snow, and that will cause some troubles here for our Wednesday morning commute. So we do have an alert day on the way for your Wednesday for especially that morning commute. We're looking at that snow to fall here for that morning commute, and we're also looking at some strong winds gusting upwards of 40 to 50 miles per hour, and with that leading to blowing snow. So this will create some difficult travel conditions here across the area. As we move forward into the upcoming weekend, the holiday weekend, of course, we'll look to see that big cool down, some much colder temperatures here on the way for the rest of the week, and we're also looking at yet another weather maker to come through, some more snow chances on the way for the region. So as you may be tuning in and joining us here this evening, feel free, if you're watching on Facebook, to drop any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that into the comment section. I'll try and keep an eye on those here for this evening. If I happen to miss them, or you catch the stream a little bit later, feel free to drop any questions or comments into the comment section, and I'll keep an eye on that here for the rest of tonight. As we move in here to our alert day for Wednesday, here's what you need to know. We're expecting to see some light to moderate snowfall during the overnight, expecting to see more of that changeover after about 9-10 o'clock here tonight on the western side towards Rochester, maybe a little bit closer to midnight. So we'll see that light to moderate snowfall anywhere from midnight to about 8 a.m. and we'll look to see strong winds during that time. We'll see those winds strengthening here throughout the overnight, gusts anywhere from 40 to 55 miles per hour on the high side there. So low visibility is likely, blowing snow, maybe even some drifts may be possible, especially in more of those open areas. And just kind of that reminder that if you're in town, if you're in city limits, the impacts not expected to be as significant, but if you are traveling in more of those rural open areas, the highways, interstates here in the region, that's where you'll see those greatest impacts and those greatest travel issues here for the region. Looking at those current winter weather alerts, all of the counties highlighted in purple, and I should note that all of these alerts are for Minnesota, Wisconsin, back into the Dakotas. At this point in time, none of our Iowa counties have any alerts. The purple is a winter weather advisory, and then we have the pink, which is a winter storm warning. Both of these will be in effect overnight through your Wednesday morning. I believe most of them should wrap up about 9 a.m. So just after that morning commute. So we'll take a look here at future track radar here this evening. We're kind of in a dry space, so we're just kind of between the rain and the snow, but notice how off to the west we're starting to see some of those showers, those snow showers wrapping around, and we'll continue to see this moving eastward and continue to wrap around through the rest of tonight. So snow becoming more likely here as we move into the next few hours, and I'll zoom that out here so you can see kind of what we're looking at. So at this point in time, the center of the low pretty much right over us here in southeast Minnesota and northeast Iowa. So we'll continue to see that moisture wrapping around that low. We'll get that wraparound effect with those snow showers here for tonight, and we'll look to bring in that snow for the region. So as we look at that wind I mentioned here, we'll be seeing those winds really perking up in the next few hours, especially after midnight tonight, starting to see those winds strengthen. Now this is the wind, just kind of a mediagram here, so just kind of that estimated wind expectation there. Anywhere from around 30 to 40 miles per hour for many of us here over the next few hours, but likely the strongest of those winds to be anywhere from, say, 40 to about 55 miles per hour. And I'm trying to take a look here, see if I can find another graphic to kind of play out some of those estimated winds for us. We'll take a look at this one here. And this will kind of show more of those stronger winds here for the area. So as we move here, I'll play this out kind of slowly here so you can watch off to the west those stronger winds. Notice here how they continue to push east overnight. So as we start to move into that morning commute, so say around 6 a.m., again, kind of looking at those winds anywhere from around 40 to 50 miles per hour. So we'll continue to see those strong winds continue here throughout the morning hours, especially. By the afternoon, they eventually slowly start to die down a bit, but we'll still see some strong winds into that Wednesday evening commute and Wednesday night. And honestly, they will even continue to stay on the stronger side through Thanksgiving Day, with gusts upwards of 30, 35 miles per hour there throughout Thanksgiving Day. So with those strong winds in mind, National Weather Service has issued a wind advisory. So this will be similarly placed with our winter alerts. However, the wind advisory will include northern Iowa counties. So this will include pretty much all of our southeast Minnesota counties minus Steele and Goodhue County there. But pretty much the majority of the viewing area, including northern Iowa this time around. So that wind advisory will be in place from midnight through about noon on Wednesday. And again, this is where we could be looking at those gusts upwards of, say, 40 to 50, even 55 miles per hour on the high side. So let's time things out here with Future Track and pay attention to those temperatures, because as this low moves through, as we start to bring that snow in, we'll see colder temperatures on the backside here of this system. So bringing in the cold, bringing in the snow, and also those stronger winds. So you can keep an eye on the temperatures, you can watch the precip, and you can also watch there in the top corner under the timestamp what those wind gusts might be. So as we play things out here, we'll really start to see more of that snow, that gradual changeover starting to happen, especially along the I-35 corridor towards about 10 o'clock or so. So another hour or two, we'll see that snow starting to move in. As we move throughout the rest of the night, we'll see that snow continue to push further east, and I'd say closer to the Highway 52 Rochester area by about midnight or so. So I think that's when we'll start to see that changeover and that snow arriving for us locally. Notice though how by midnight, winds could already be gusting upwards of 40 to 45 miles per hour. So if you have any traveling late tonight, and especially into that morning commute, do use some extra travel time. Use some extra caution if you're able to adjust any of your travel plans. Maybe you're able to kind of get a late start on the day, work remotely for the first part of your day. I'd say that would be the best way that you can do that. Or you still have a little time, maybe you can make some slight travel adjustments as well to your upcoming Wednesday. So now is the time to kind of prepare, put those plans into action here as we move towards that morning commute. So as we continue to play things out, you can see that snow continue to push east. Notice the darker colors. We can see some pockets of moderate, maybe some pockets there of some isolated heavier snowfall may be possible at times, but I do think light to moderate snowfall is what we should mainly be expecting. So as we move towards about 5, 6, 7 a.m. for that morning commute, still expecting to see some light snowfall, maybe some moderate snowfall falling at times there. Notice the wind gusts already up to about 50 miles per hour. So we'll be looking at those very strong winds during that morning commute, and at times we could be looking at whiteout to blizzard-like conditions in the area. And again, if you happen to be in town traveling, not going to be seeing as significant impacts. If you are out in those rural areas, highways, freeways, this is where you'll see those greatest impacts and the big concern there with those open areas, that blowing snow, potential maybe for some drifting, and those near whiteout conditions possible as well. So again, if you're traveling in town, you should be okay. Of course, some slick roads, but folks that are in more of those open areas, this is where we'll have those greatest and significant impacts to the region. Good news is snowfall should be out of here by about 9, 10 o'clock Wednesday morning. Notice the winds continue to stay strong, upwards of 40 to 50 miles per hour. They'll continue with us throughout much of the day, those stronger winds, but we'll see mostly overcast sky. And as we head towards Wednesday evening, then Wednesday night, we'll start to see the winds slowly, kind of gradually dying down a little bit, but we'll start to see some gradual clearing as well. But things get chilly past Wednesday there, so just in time for the holiday, then looking at some cold conditions. In terms of estimated snowfall amounts, so this will be late tonight through Wednesday. I think the Rochester area and areas from southern Minnesota up towards the Highway 14 area. Notice the darker blues there. That's where we'll see kind of those heaviest amounts. So I think into Goodhue County, Rice County, maybe portions of northern Steele and Dodge County, up towards the Twin Cities metro area, anywhere from around 2 to 4, maybe 2 to 5 on the higher side there. Rochester area, Winona, Highway 14 corridor through about the I-90 region, maybe anywhere from around 1 to 3 inches of snowfall. Rochester area, Winona, Austin, Albert Lee, about 1 to 3. Preston, La Crosse, maybe about 1 to 2. And then into northern Iowa there, Highway 18 corridor through about the state line, less than an inch is expected. So again, lesser snowfall impacts for northern Iowa. Greatest concern is going to be across southern Minnesota and into western Wisconsin there. So quick look there at those snowfall amounts. And as I mentioned, that drive for tomorrow, going to be a tricky one, difficult one. So again, if you are able to make an adjustments to your travel plans, or maybe if you can take the day off, or if you can work remotely, some different measures that way would be potentially beneficial. So it sounds like some schools maybe don't have school tomorrow, so some good news there, but not entirely sure on the schooling system, so that'll be something to work out for folks as well. When it comes to that morning commute, again, with those strongest winds, I think around 4 or 5 a.m., we could be looking at some near whiteout conditions. But again, blowing snow continues through that 6, 7 a.m. hour. So really all morning long during that morning commute, anticipate there to be falling snow and for there to be blowing snow. Again, those gusts upwards of 40 to 55 miles per hour. So looking through the rest of the day, we already talked about how that morning commute will be looking at that low visibility, that blowing snow. This is kind of why we have that alert day. It's not so much for the snowfall amounts, but it's because of the blowing snow that we could be looking at. Those strong winds with those gusts upwards of 50, 55 miles per hour. So those will be the greatest hazards for the area. Not necessarily the snow itself, but again, the extra impacts that come with that falling snow. So heading into the midday then, looking to see that snow lightening up, gradually coming to an end, but again, still some blowing snow, maybe some drifts as well, and some low visibility until that snow is pretty much done for. Heading into Wednesday afternoon then, we'll still see the strong winds, gusts a little bit lighter than that morning commute, but we'll still see those winds anywhere from around 30 to 40 miles per hour. Good news is travel will be improving. There may still be some slick spots, especially those neighborhood roads, intersections, on-ramps, exit ramps, bridges, overpasses. But I think by the afternoon, with that ending snow, anything that the wind doesn't kick up, I think our plow drivers should be able to get a good handle on it and get a lot of that cleaned up. So looking ahead to tomorrow, again, that first alert day in place for your Wednesday, those morning hours, that morning commute, we have that alert day in place, and then the rest of the day, late morning through the afternoon, evening hours on Wednesday, not under that alert threat, but again, still some strong winds, some cold conditions, but we'll be drying out. 7-day forecast for the Rochester area, we have that alert day again for Wednesday. We have Thanksgiving on Thursday, so we get a break in the action, just enough time to recoup, and then we head towards Friday night into Saturday. We have yet another set of alert days as we track more snow potential for the region. Notice though how those temperatures get cold. We go into the 20s here the next few days. Teens for estimated high temperatures Sunday and Monday. So we get pretty chilly for the region. And I do also want to take a note here of our winter storm potential for Friday into Saturday. This is our next system. We've been tracking it for a while, and I gotta say a lot has changed here just in the last couple of days as we've gained more data, more information on this snow system. And it looks like Friday into Saturday, our best chance of seeing snowfall in the area. There's still some big questions in terms of timing wise for this snow system, and maybe where we could be looking at some of those heaviest amounts and of course those snow totals, but I think we're starting to get a better idea of what parts of the upper Midwest will be impacted by this system. So a lot to kind of look at, a lot to dive into here for the next couple of days, but that's kind of a look here at what we're expecting for tonight for your Wednesday morning commute and looking ahead to the holiday and the holiday weekend. So we'll do another update likely tomorrow night, I think, looking ahead to Thanksgiving and the holiday forecast and the weekend system. Then now we get to reset after tomorrow and focus on that next system. So I hope everybody stays safe out there and make it to your location tomorrow if you do have to head into work. But again, use some extra caution, maybe try and make some adjustments to that travel if you can. But otherwise, again, just another friendly reminder, if you're in town, those impacts still possible, but not as significant as if you were traveling in more rural areas on the open freeways, highways. Once you get outside of city limits, that's when you'll see the greatest impacts of that blowing snow, reduced visibility. So if you're in town, you should be pretty A-okay. Most of this should be pretty manageable. It's just outside of city limits in those rural areas that have those greatest impacts. So again, travel safe tomorrow, use some extra caution, take it easy, and then we'll reset for the Thanksgiving holiday, and we'll do it all over again with our next system, looking ahead to the holiday weekend. So again, we'll keep you updated here, but a first alert day on tap for Wednesday. We'll look to see you again tomorrow for another update, but until then, stay safe. Have a great evening, everybody.